right?
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I had this because I use Zoom for mine too, and I had it set up. Had my audio line. Yeah, you know how it is.
I know exactly how it is.
Until you actually get in here, you can't do anything with it. Or I couldn't. Yeah.
All too well, my friend. All too well.
Yeah.
So Lloyd, how you doing this fine Veterans Day?
I'm staying warm. It is flipping cold in Oklahoma right now. We got slush in our streets, and it's been like that. We've had rain, snow, sleet, and ice all at the same time.
Oh, how awful! How awful!
Yeah.
At least ours limited itself to snow.
Well, I would have been happy with the snow. But I'm doing good. I had a really good show tonight. Had a bunch of veterans show up tonight for my show.
Oh, awesome!
And yeah, it was awesome. It really was. And I first off, let me thank you for your service. And, and
right back at you, buddy.
All of the other veterans out there, thank you. To the Vietnam veterans, welcome home. And yeah, it's a, you know, I grew up, I did a video for Veterans Day. I put up one today. And I went back to World War I to my grandfather. My father was in World War II. He was in the tank destroyers in both the African and the Italy campaigns, wounded twice. That was I don't know why they ever came up with that. It was basically they went out front to chase the tanks, but they had an open turret. I mean, where was their thinking on that?
Oh, well, you know, Lloyd, we know. It's military intelligence is an oxymoron for a reason.
Oxymoron at best, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And then I had, all my uncles were in. I had one that was a Marine. He fought at Guadalcanal. Another one of my uncles was a POW. He was at the fall of Corregidor. He was on the Bataan Death March and survived. And then the other one was in the early Air Force, which is where I ended up going in. My brother fought in Vietnam. He did 3 tours. My cousins, I had one that was, he was in the Marines, won the Silver Star, got out, went back in and spent another 22 years in the Army.
Wow.
And ended up fighting a Desert Storm.
Oh.
They had to have somebody to teach them what to do. One of the guys in the chat tonight in my show was saying that they hired a bunch of old Vietnam vets to come in and tell them what they were doing because they had no clue. And,
yeah. Well, I'm surprised too because then maybe not. I'm thinking about most of the DIs. You know, the DIs when I went in were all from the Nam era. Yeah. And they pulled no punches, and they made sure you were prepared, right? Because they knew.
Oh yeah. This namby-pamby, you know, I mean, and no disrespect to the young men who are volunteering because it is an all-volunteer service. You know, I'm from the draft era. I was at the very end of the draft. So I got my draft notice after I was already enlisted.
Oh. Yet again.
Yeah. Like, really? I don't know how many guys in boot camp got draft notices, and we were already, you know, in boot camp. Like, people are on this, you know, this is okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was listening to what Jim said, and a lot of, you know, we're from an era, at least I am, and I'm sure you're a few years behind me, but we're from an era in which we had uncles that grew up either in World War II or Korea. So we understood the mentality that goes with being around soldiers.
How true.
The military. And my kids, yeah, they came along and they got to see me because when my wife and I got married, I had just been out for a little while and my attitude, I wasn't the nicest guy. And here I am, the new dad in the family, and they're trying to get used to me. I'm trying to get used to them. And, you know, I was just not a nice guy. But like Jim said, you know, we didn't call it PTSD. We just, he's just a vet. He's a jerk, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of course they would understand. It's,
yeah.
Yeah.
my wife and I were talking about that this evening, and I said, well, I've talked with the kids, and my one son is now a police chief, and he fully understands what PTSD is. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, and those are the other people that don't often get recognized because they're, you know, I found a thing today but I'm not able to put it on my intro. I did an intro tonight that played the medley of the 4 services, and then I had my timer countdown, and in behind it I had, or actually over kind of going through, I had the logos of the 5 branches of service. When I went in, there was only 4, but you know, I'm being nice to them. I actually had a Coast Guard guy in my chat. He informed me, and I was like, okay, I did not know that they're the longest continuing branch of service in our government.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, okay, I guess I didn't get that one in. They didn't teach that in Air Force history. So.
Well, they don't get the credit they deserve, honestly.
No, they don't. They don't.
And like you said, neither do the domestic first responders, man. Which is why I made mention of the top of the show, because they arguably see more shit than a lot of, you know, and a lot of us who went in not wartime. So.
Yeah.
So my hats are off to them. It's a very dangerous job. Yeah. Both sides of that all 3 sides.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you go in there let's say you're just a first or an EMT. You go in there, you don't know if you're going to get shot at.
Oh, and many do. Yeah.
Many of them do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's today's society is not what it was. But yeah, I've dealt with all my demons. You know, of course, you know. I buried most of them in a bottle for a few years until my wife informed me that wasn't acceptable.
nor is it very effective.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, my hat's off to these new young guys that are coming out. They don't have the tools because we haven't had a war. Actually, some of them now, yeah, we've been at war long enough that they you know, they don't remember what 9/11 was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was 18 years ago. And it's 18. My math.
Yeah, 18. Yep. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. But you know, they've grown up. These young soldiers coming in, they just know we're fighting over there, and
mm-hmm.
they're doing this. You know, some of them because they need a good job, and you know, for lack of a better thing, it is that.
Yeah, and there's no shortage of those, and there's nothing wrong with that, honestly, as long as you know what you're getting into potentially, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you do it for the right reasons. Hell, we even had guys who had a choice between jail and military service come through. And
most of my generation, that's the way most guys that were in when I was at, you got a lot of them.
Oh yeah,
they went to Vietnam. It's either go to jail or go to Vietnam. So,
yeah, and they were the hardest to wrangle in, honestly.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of them turn around and actually remain and become careers. They were lifers, so it does serve that purpose.
The best thing I ever did. It because I was a geek in high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I got married in high school, and I needed to provide for my family because I had a baby on the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was from a military family. I never doubted that I was not going to go into the military. It's just
foregone. That was a foregone conclusion for you.
Yeah, it was. But you know, I heard. I think it was Jim Above and Beyond Drones. Jim Boyd
mm-hmm.
was talking about. You know, they didn't really discuss how they're going to go. Well, I had a brother who'd already been to Vietnam 3 times. He was, well, first off, he was a paratrooper.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the 173rd Airborne Brigade, and then he was in the 1st Aviation Brigade. The last time he went to Vietnam as a door gunner. It's like, okay. And he chose that. Like,
really?
All right, whatever. Yeah. Like, he has to extend to go back over so he could be a door gunner. But man, he's got some screws loose.
or you know, giant Goombas, you know.
Yeah, one of the two. And,
maybe a combo.
But yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. And you know, I admired him. He was my older brother. And but the one thing he and my father both said was, join the Air Force. they got the best food. And he's right. We did.
You know, it's funny you say that because I always thought the food was good, even the field food. Now, we were on the end of sea rats, so we had to eat a lot of sea rats before the MREs came in.
Yeah, and we didn't even have MREs.
Yeah, the MREs, they were deluxe luxury stuff. Man, that was living large, especially if you had a truck engine nearby where you could heat stuff up.
Right.
But no, I didn't mind the sea rats except for those godforsaken crackers, man. Those things were food of the devil.
They were like rocks.
Oh God, they were awful. God, were they awful.
On those.
Yeah, and if you ever were able to get them broken up, man, they tasted like dirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had in boot camp our chow hall. I was in the last of the World War II barracks, and we had a World War II chow hall down at Lackland Air Force Base. For some reason, they called it Happy Valley. I had never understood the joke about that.
Irony.
It was, it was irony for sure. Yeah, they had a big welcome to Happy Valley. Like, are you kidding me? You guys are twisted. But anyways, our chow hall got shut down by the health department because it was serving unfit food. And then we lost one of our drill instructors because it turns out he and another drill instructor from another flight, or platoon as you would call it in the Army, from another flight, they were going out and they were hunting jackrabbits and selling them to the cook and taking chicken home, and they were all splitting it up and they were bringing in these rangy jackrabbits. That's what we were supposed to be eating for chicken, and I knew better.
Oh man, that speaks so much to the diets of the other four branches. If you say Air Force was the best and you're eating jackrabbits, man, what the hell were we eating?
I know, exactly. Yeah, and that's all you can do is tell the funny stories, because the other ones you just you try and get past. But that was one of the things I remember from boot camps. Like, oh my God, that was And to this day, I can't eat rabbit. I just can't stand it. It's just like,
well,
I had chicken 3 days a week.
Yeah. Well, you need some domestic. You need some domestic rabbit, because I can't imagine jackrabbit. But jackrabbit to me would probably come off a lot more gamey than your standard. Yeah.
Well, I grew up in Colorado, so I knew a little bit about what gamey tasted like.
Oh yeah.
So I said, this is not chicken. I've had chicken, and this ain't it.
That's what I say every time I go to a Chinese restaurant.
Exactly. I always think of that song, Cat in the Kettle of the Peking Moon. Yeah.
Oh, Lloyd. Yeah, I do actually. We've got another vet who is a regular in the chat. So I'm going to bring him up. But Lloyd, man, it's always good to hear from you, brother.
Yeah, and thank you for everything you do, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate what you've done for the country. And to all the vets, thank you, guys. That's all I really wanted to say tonight. And I'm going to get out of here because I'm tired from my show.
I hear you, man. I'm going to go back and watch those, by the way, and you guys should too.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your help, your service, brother.
Okay, you too.